Namaste and welcome to Yin and Restorative Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua, and for today's practice, you'll want to have quite a few props. If you have any of the following types of props or something you can substitute them with, you might like to have 2 blocks, a strap, a pillow, or more than one, and a blanket. Let's begin in a comfortable seated position of your choice. You may like to prop your pelvis on any of your comfortable props, just to allow your hips to relax, especially if you're crossing the legs, spine lengthen upright. So we have been going through the 8 limbs of yoga, but I thought I'd press pause for a moment and address something that just recently came up and tie it into our yoga philosophy talk today. So earlier this day, I came from my aunt's funeral, and the passing of a relative or anyone close to you, or let me speak to myself, close to me, even through blood, gets me reflecting on that big unknown that we call death. In yoga philosophy, I've mentioned before that there are basically 5 root causes of suffering, and one of those is the fear of death. In Sanskrit, it's called abhinivesha. So how do we encounter or deal with or relate to the fear of death? Recently, I came back from 4 days studying with different elders, indigenous elders who flew in globally from different tribes in the Amazon rainforest to different parts of the Americas. And one former chief and ambassador of the Ramapa Lenape Nation, her name is Grandmother Clara Soaringhawk, led us through a deep meditation of imagining ourselves in our deathbeds. And this actually came from an awakening that she personally experienced being visited by an ancestor. And so she guided us through this visualization with a series of questions, and I'm going to sum it up and get right to the most piercing ones she concluded with. But I invite you to just pause for a moment. What are your personal feelings right now about death? Like, what comes up in your physical body, just even turning to that topic? Do you feel a sense of that fear of death called abhinivesha? And if so, how does it play a role in how you live your daily life? Is it something that you tuck away, not want to think about? Is it something you think about all the time, or somewhere in between? So sharing some of the meditation from Grandmother Clara Soaringhawk, in imagining ourselves lying in our deathbeds, she ultimately came to ask us a few questions like, in this lifetime, what have you left undone? What have you left undone? Is there someone that you have not yet forgiven? Is there someone that you have not told that you love or said sorry to? Is there something that has been calling you from deep in your heart for you to birth or to create or to move towards? In this lifetime, what have you left undone? And then through this process, she said, now imagine you have been granted your life back. And having your life back, can you resolve to take care of that which you had left undone? Can you resolve to take care of that? And how would you go about doing that? What are the first steps you might take if this was the first day of your new chapter of life? And then she led us into our sense of purpose. What are you doing here? What are you doing here in this physical body, in this lifetime? What did you come here for? And how are you doing that? How are you doing that? And these are some huge questions, but I feel that they can help us in relating to Abhinavesha. And so how might we integrate this into our physical yoga practice today? Bringing a sense of attentiveness to the present moment, right? Because yoga is so much about living with intention, breath by breath, moment by moment. Let's take a moment to check in with ourselves, observing what's present in your physical body right now. Noticing any kinds of sensations. Feeling the sensations of the breath just as it is. And observing your energy. And noticing your heart mind, how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. And letting yourself just be with that, however it is. Let's begin to deepen the breath. Let a few exhales out through the lips. Taking your time, each new breath, to lengthen just a little bit more. Sensing the flow of chi or prana or life force energy through the breath. And feeling your aliveness in this moment. What is something you appreciate right now? Allowing gratitude to open your practice. Then clarify your intention or personal prayer for your practice today. Remembering that our practice is not only to serve our benefit, but to be of service to life all around us. With that in mind, I invite you to choose somebody you would like to dedicate your practice to today. Together, let's join our voices, chanting Om to create resonance together. 3 times. Let in a deep breath. Let's begin in corpse pose. Come on down to your back, and if you need some lower back support, you may like to use a rolled up blanket or a pillow or 2 blocks and place them across the width of your mat right underneath the backs of your knees like this. Let your feet splay apart where you can really just relax the hips. Let the palms turn face up, down by your sides. Let the shoulders soften down into the earth, sliding both shoulder blades down your back ribs. Lengthen your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. You might take a moment to just move your head, gently shaking it no, nodding it yes, until you can really feel your neck in its natural curve and more neutral position. And then from here, you might close the eyes and continue to observe the natural flow of your breathing. I invite you into a brief, mindful body scan by just noticing your neck, all around it, your skull, the muscles in your face, and just observing the sensations there. Sensing areas of tension or patterned tension, areas of release and relaxation. No need to label any of them as good or bad, just observe. Feel into your shoulders and chest, your upper back and shoulder blades. Notice your armpits, down both arms, from the upper arms, all around, through the elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, and fingertips. What do you feel here? Sense the weight of your pelvis on the surface below. Is it heavier on one side than the other? Is there any gripping in the belly or the pelvic floor or the muscles throughout your spine? Sense your chest and all around your rib cage. Feel down your left leg to begin, starting at the top of your thigh bone, tracing your awareness all around the knees, the calf and shin, the ankle, top of the foot, and bottom, the sole. What do you notice here? Feel into your right thigh bone at the hip socket. And curiously sense the feeling all around the leg, from the knee down to the right shin bone, ankle, foot, toes. How is your body speaking to you in this moment? Can you bring that curiosity and that caring, listening into the rest of this asana practice? I can invite you into a pranayama now, one that helps to relax the mind-body, cultivate awareness through the breath. And it's very simple. It's a mindful breathing technique. You may like to place your hands just below your belly button onto your lower belly, or a hand on your chest and belly. But we're going to focus on abdominal breathing, which also helps to stimulate digestion. And so I invite you to close the mouth. If you can, just breathe through the nose. A very gentle, sustained breath. As I count to 5, or from 5, I invite you to fill up the belly. Let it gently expand in your palms. And then as I count from 7, let the belly sink downwards towards the spine, exhaling through the nose. Let's try a few cycles together and continue a few more on your own. So empty this breath to prepare. Then slowly breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5. Exhale 7. Try counting a few more cycles on your own. Now I invite you to intuitively continue to lengthen your out breath slightly longer than your in breath. If you need to count a little bit longer, feel free to do so. Just letting the exhale ease its way out. Begin to stretch the arms overhead and interlace your fingers, flipping your palms inside out. Pointing your toes forward, press the heels of your palms towards your rear wall as you soften the shoulders down and away from the neck. On your next exhale, bend both knees towards your chest and take hold of your bent knees. Start to rotate your thighs apart on the next in-breath. Circle them slowly together as you exhale. And just like that, start a mini vinyasa flow, a breath-led movement to warm up your hips, massage the lower back and glutes, and switch it up. Go in both directions on your own. Change up the sizes of the circles. Continuing to lengthen the exhales slightly longer than the inhales. Then slide the left leg flat on the floor ahead and bend the right knee towards your right side of your rib cage. Breath by breath as you keep the shoulders resting on the ground. See if you might be able to hug the right thigh a little closer to the right side of the ribs, just giving a little compression into the right lower belly, helping to stimulate digestion. Let's move the right foot at the ankle in all directions. Even adding pointing and flexing the foot a few times. Then from here, slide your pelvis about 3 to 5 more inches towards the right edge of your mat. Slide your right arm out to the right. As you ground the right shoulder, gazing past it to stretch the neck, begin to cross your right thigh over your body towards the left. You could catch the inner leg with a pillow if you'd like, making sure the right shoulder stays rooted to the floor. If you feel ready to intensify the lower back release in this twist, you can use the left hand and gently press away your right outer hip, creating traction in the lower spine. Feel the flow of your breath. If you find it helpful to support concentration, you could continue with Ujjayi Pranayama, in which you're creating a soft whispering sound to the breath by gently narrowing the back of your throat. Last 2 breaths on this side. And then gently roll onto your back, slide the right leg forward on the ground, recenter your pelvis on the mat. Bend your left knee towards your left outer ribs. And grounding both shoulders, start to circle your left foot in both directions. Hugging the thigh closer into that left side of your abdomen. Point and flex the foot too. From here, slide your pelvis towards the left edge of your mat, about 3 to 5 more inches. And open your left arm wide on the ground. As you root the left shoulder around the earth, turn your gaze past it, stretching the neck, and begin to cross your left thigh over your body to your right side. You might catch the inner leg with pillows or props to make sure the left shoulder stays on the ground. If you feel ready to intensify the stretch in the lower back, here, use the right hand to gently press away your left outer hip. Last couple of deep breaths here. Once again, roll onto your back. Let's take the knees apart towards your outer armpits, entering happy baby pose. Grounding your tailbone, shoulders, and head. Take hold of your outer feet or ankles. You might choose to rock side to side, give your back a massage. And as you're splaying the feet wider apart and drawing the knees deeper towards the earth, keep your feet parallel to each other and both soles facing the sky. One more long exhale here. With your hands on your outer thighs, close the knees together and begin to rock and roll forward and back a few times. You might go as far as lifting the legs overhead and pressing the feet on the mat. Massaging up and down the spine. When you feel like you've had enough, let's eventually come to tabletop, hands and knees on the floor. Spreading the fingers flat at the top of your mat, stack your shoulders on top of your wrists, step your knees a couple of inches behind your hips, and let's prepare to flex and extend the spine in cat-cow pose to the breath. So on your inhale, glide your chest forward and roll your shoulders back and down, looking up. As you exhale, contract your abdomen and drop your head to round the back. Again, inhale, draw the heart forward, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, lift the navel in, dropping your head to round. Keep going, maybe another 4 or so cycles of breath in Betalasana. On your next exhalation, let's meet in child's pose, Balasana, bringing the inner edges of your feet together to touch, knees together or apart. Sink your hips back and down to the heels, stretching the arms forward, come into extended child's pose. So as you're actively reaching the fingertips towards the front of your mat, draw your hips further back and down and lengthen the sides of your torso. Slide the shoulders back and lengthen the crown of your head forward, lengthening your neck. I invite you to focus the next inhalation into expanding into your lower back, wide across the sacrum. And as you breathe out, intentionally relax the muscles there. Try a couple more breaths like that, into the lower back. Start to move the breath into the middle back, the area of the lowest ribs, the kidneys. Feeling the expansion there as you breathe in and the softening there as you breathe out. And let the breath rise into your upper back, feeling it in the backs of your neck, the back of your neck, your rib cage, the outer armpits, the shoulder blades, and in between them. Continue to draw your hips back and down. Let your heart melt towards the earth. And crawl your hands to the right side of your mat, maybe even reaching outside of the mat, as far as you can comfortably reach to help lengthen the left side of your torso. And let the breath expand all throughout the left side of the torso, from the outer armpit to the left lower back. And slowly walk your hands through center, crawling them over to the left side of the mat. Letting the breath expand throughout the right side of your torso.
And then come back through center and let's rock forward to tabletop once again, preparing for another spinal twist called thread the needle. You can set your two knees on the floor just like this as you slide the right arm under the left, or to add an opening into the inner thigh, you could step the right foot out to the right on the floor, flat on the ground, so the inner arch of the right foot is in line with your left knee. But if you find that as you're twisting, this makes it too cumbersome, you could always replace the right knee on the ground. So press the floor with the left finger spread. Inhale, raise your right arm towards the sky. Exhale, thread the right arm underneath your left bend to elbow and lower the right side of your head all the way down. Now, if your head does not comfortably rest on the ground, use any configuration of your props as a pillow. Make sure your head is resting. Soften both shoulder heads back and down. And notice where you're feeling this posture the most. Where's your body calling your attention right now? Observing that space, perhaps visualizing the breath enter that space. Practicing deep listening with your body. One more deep breath here. And slowly press up, back to all fours. I invite you to pause for at least a couple of breaths where you are, finding a more neutral position of your spine, just letting it unravel from that twist as you observe how it feels when it's doing that. For the second side, see if you can balance what you did on the first side. So if you step the right foot out, you might step the left foot out. Press the right palm into the earth. Inhale, raise your left arm towards the sky. Exhale, thread the left arm underneath your right bend to elbow. Lower the left side of your head all the way down, using props as a pillow as needed. Let the shoulder blades melt down your back ribs, away from the neck. What's calling your attention here on this side of the pose? One more clearing breath here. And take your time coming back to tabletop. Pausing once again for a few breaths to notice anything there is to notice. I invite you to grab a couple of blocks here, placing them on their lowest level height so that they're about shoulders distance apart in front of you. Plant your hands on the blocks. Keep your hips directly on top of your knees. Shins are parallel and hips distance apart. And then slightly activate your abdomen. So draw the navel towards the spine so that the belly is not just dumping down, which can impinge on the lower back. And with your arms straight, hands flat on the blocks, start to walk the blocks forward as far as you can. Straighten the arms and enter a flat back while drawing the shoulders back away from the neck. Lengthen the crown of your head towards the ground between the blocks. So neither the front or back of the neck is being shortened. Rotate the outer sides of your upper arms, which are your triceps, towards the ground to spread the shoulder blades across the upper back. And as you keep the hips stacked right above the knees, imagine them standing behind your mat, pulling your hips towards the back wall. Create that lengthening in both directions of the spine, forward and back. Keep lifting the belly towards the back. Broadening the collarbones as you roll the triceps downward. Lengthening all sides of the neck. We're here for about 5 to 7 more deep breaths. Breathe into your left and right walls of your rib cage. And then relax the muscles between the ribs. Where else might you focus the breath? And give another 1 or 2 cleansing exhalations in this puppy dog or half downward dog pose. And then from here, slide the blocks close enough to you to rise back to tabletop. And let's place the blocks now on their second level or medium height. Now, if you have really skinny blocks and that doesn't feel too stable, you could make them the lowest height, maybe stack. If you have more things you can stack, just have the blocks each equal in height and place them across the top of your mat, touching each other. Have your knees about a foot behind the blocks. Stretch your arms forward. We're gonna open up into the lats, the sides of the upper back and the triceps a bit here. So stretching the arms forward, spin the triceps downward, bend the elbows and press the shoulders down the back. Keep doing those 2 actions of triceps downward, shoulders down the back, and place your elbows exactly your shoulders distance apart on the blocks. Press your fingertips into each other. Then walk your knees back until they're about 2 inches behind your hips. Tuning into your breath, trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, down the back of your neck, as far back as you can trace your thumbs, letting the head fall towards the earth, letting the chest sink and broaden towards the ground. Continue to firm in the belly, so the belly's not dumping down. You're still supporting the length of your lower back. Make sure that your elbows have not splayed wider than your shoulders distance apart. Adjust if they have. Let the shoulders continue to soften away from the neck here for about 7 or so more deep breaths. How is your body speaking to you now? And when you're ready, with an exhalation, engage the abdomen more strongly to rise up and off the blocks. Let's make our way down into Sphinx pose, letting the belly lie flat on the floor with the legs straight behind you. Lifting your chest with your elbows directly under your shoulders, forearms parallel to each other in front of you. When you arrive in Sphinx, take a moment to slide your knees as close together as you comfortably can, actively stretching your legs long behind you as you point your toes. Try to feel every toenail pressing into your mat. As you continue to lengthen the tailbone back towards the space between the knees, cross your left forearm onto your mat just in front of your chest. Bend your right knee and backstroke your right arm to open the front of the shoulder. Try to hold the big toe or the inner side of your right ankle or foot. If you can't reach, grab a strap and use it as an extension of your arm, lassoing the top of the foot. Hold the strap. With your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, ground your right frontal hip bone. Keep the chest facing forward and gently bring the right heel just slightly to the outer side of the right hip for a few more breaths. And as you breathe in, let your collarbones widen across your chest. As you breathe out, relax the jaw, relax the shoulders down. One more deep breath here. Gently release the leg. Come back to Sphinx pose, both forearms on the floor. Slide the knees close together. Actively stretch the legs long. Let the shoulders roll back and down. Then cross your right forearm in front of your chest and bend your left knee. Backstroke your left arm and catch hold of the big toe or inner side of your left ankle or foot, maybe using a strap. Having your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, ground your two frontal hip bones. Bring your left heel gently towards the outer side of the left hip, not too far away. With the chest facing forward, soften the shoulders back. Deep, conscious breaths. And when you're ready, once again, come back to Sphinx. You might choose to move the head around, stretching the neck. You might choose to come into a wide-armed version of Cobra pose, where you're on your fingertips and they are outside of the mat, in which you could rotate one shoulder back, look behind you, rotate the other shoulder back, sort of circling each shoulder blade onto the back ribs. And when you're ready, press up to sit. And let's slide the legs in front of us. Choose to sit on the ground or elevate your sitting bones on a blanket. Let's come into another spinal twist, sitting upright. So bend your right knee and step the foot in front of your right hip, or cross the foot outside of your left knee. Or here, also bend the left knee. Choose the setup that allows you to equally root both sitting bones and to sit tall with the shoulders relaxed. Place the right hand on the floor behind your pelvis. Press into the ground with your legs, lifting the left arm. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in. Keep your pelvis still, and as you breathe out, start to rotate your ribcage to the right. Lower your left arm to hold your right leg, or hook the elbow outside the thigh. And let's keep rooting down and lifting with each in breath.
allowing the twist to deepen with each out breath. On your next exhalation, unwind your spine, but hug your thighs even closer together, bringing the legs into cow face pose, in which either the bottom leg stays straight, foot flexed, or both knees are bent as you splay the feet apart. Again, choose the one that allows you to evenly root both sitting bones. Let's bring the arms into eagle pose, opening the upper back a little more. Bend your elbows apart, cross the left elbow over the right, and hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. Slide the shoulder blades down and lift up through the back of your skull. Lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders and gently press the forearms away from your face. Sitting a little taller as you breathe in. If it's available to fold without rounding the back, exhale, begin to hinge from the hips. For several breaths here. Pressing down through your hips, breathe in to slowly rise. Lift the elbows a little higher and exhale back, stroke the arms, uncross the legs. Pause just a moment. Feel your body unwind from those series of asanas. Bringing mindfulness into the transition. Let's bend the left knee and step the left foot on the ground, either in front of the hip or crossed outside of the opposite knee, maybe bending the opposite knee. If you can, balance out how you set up on the first side. Place the left hand behind your pelvis, raise the right arm, root into the ground, and lengthen up through the spine as you breathe in. Keep your pelvis still, and as you breathe out, begin to twist to your left. Lower your right arm or hold the elbow out, hook the elbow outside the thigh. And continue for several more breaths. On an exhale, unwind your spine and hug your thighs closer together to bring the legs in Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Or you could straighten the bottom leg. Bend the elbows apart to bring the arms into Garudasana, eagle pose, this time crossing the right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. Press the shoulders and hips downward as you lift upward through the spine. Lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders. Gently press the forearms away from your face. Breathing in as you root through the pelvis, lengthening the spine, and breathing out as you might begin to fold from the hips for several breaths.
Press through the hips. Breathe in to slowly rise.
Lifting the elbows, exhale back, stroke the arms and uncross the legs. And allow a moment of digestion. Let's bend the knees apart. We'll add in one more posture for just a few more breaths. Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, bound angle pose. Root the sitting bones down and inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Start to fold from the hips, breath by breath.
Then inhale to slowly rise up.
So I invite you to find a comfortable setup for a sound bath meditation, which will be followed by silence in Shavasana. In reverse the order of our meditation and Shavasana. So think of it as an extended Shavasana for today. You may like to have a rolled up blanket underneath the backs of your knees, like in the beginning in corpse pose. You may like to set up supported fish pose with two blocks, one for the back of the head, one for underneath the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, or more supported fish pose in which you create a recliner out of your pillow like this. Find the position in which you can truly just surrender all effort in the body, all effort in the breath, yet allow yourself to immerse in the sounds with presence. As you arrive in your comfortable final resting pose, you might allow a couple last clearing sighs through the mouth before you completely let go of controlling the breath. Closing the eyes. If you have an eye pillow, you could place that over the eyes too for support and relaxation. Notice how your physical body feels here now. If you have time to stay in Shavasana longer, feel free to stay. Close the practice when you're ready to close. Otherwise, begin to move your body gently, waking it up. Find a way to slowly, gradually rise into a comfortable seated position. Notice the quality of your natural breathing and sense how your energy feels now as you're ending your practice. Notice how your heart, mind feels. How will you integrate your practice throughout your day or week ahead? Being intentional with the breath, the body, your presence. Attuning to your sense of purpose as we talked about Abhinavesha, why you're here. Honoring the sacredness of your life. Let's bring our practice to a close by remembering your intention. Offering gratitude to those before us who have led to our experience of now, what we get to enjoy from the fruits of their labor. Remember to whom you chose to dedicate this practice. And let's join our voices in 3 chants of Om. Let in a deep breath. Honoring the light within, the light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.